Entertainment is...
Entertainment?
Someone bigger than me.
madness.
Thank you for leaving them alone.
My job is to be an actor.
Make them laugh.
Make them laugh.
Make them cry. That makes you angry.
How can you be so damn dumb?
I see it as a business.
Who's ready to do a talk show?
But the totality is entertainment.
Can we take it there, please? Thank you.
In an age of entertainment driven by $100 million budgets, state-of-the-art special effects, mass promotion and global media saturation, there remains one form of entertainment unchanged since the origins of human speech.
Friendlies.
It's live, it's done standing up, and it's happening in a comedy club near you. There's a hunger for humour. The live comedy business has been growing, and nowhere faster than in London, the epicenter of a burgeoning and lucrative jokes trade. On any given night in dozens of venues, you can hear upwards of 5,000 punchlines.
And my art plays the banjo.
Turns out your own mother was trying to kill you.
Hitting or missing.
I'm here tonight to talk about skin.
Their mark.
Apparently,
stand-up comedy is an exercise in how to hold an audience of whatever size in rapt attention with nothing but imagination and a mouth. Hence the live entertainment equation. Talk is cheap, leisure money is plentiful. Together, they equal a comedy explosion.
We replaced bands. All of a sudden, you didn't have to hire 5 or 6 people. You could hire one person. They required no equipment, just one crummy mic and a lousy PA. It's cheaper than putting on strippers. You get a better clientele. People drank anyway. It became a really economically sound thing to do.
But why do comics do it standing up?
Up until the Victorian times, most comedians either sat down. They brought these little like hassocks with them. Hassock being a word kind of like Cossack, but the hassocks were before the Cossacks. The Cossacks usually swept down from the north, and the hassocks came up and often battled the Ottomans for control of the furniture empire. Whoever was in control of the hassocks or the Ottomans would require the comedian sat on these very tufted, cushiony things. And then somebody went on one night at one of these sit-down clubs, and maybe he lost his hassock, maybe they just didn't have one, and he stood up, and suddenly that revolutionized comedy as we know it.
Crouch sometimes. Crouching is good, but standing mostly, yeah.
The stand-up comedian doesn't stand still for long, but is forever on the go. The limousine arriving to collect legendary American comedian Jackie Mason from his plush Dorchester hotel suite, the hired car of longtime Greg Proops tour manager, and the London taxi waiting at Irish newcomer Ed Burns' Finsbury Park digs are all the transport required to deliver the entire entertainment package to the gig. Forget roadies, stagehands, dressers, sans props, sans sets, sans special effects. Stand-up comedians travel with everything they need in their heads. The comic is a freelance, self-employed, small business person with no bosses or unions.
We're not going to be late.
The pure, streamlined, essential entertainer.
Saddle up.
Yes, sir.
There are no funny costumes, no grotesque masks, no silly hats, no enormous shoes, no kooky names, no rabbits, no exploding cigars.
All right, mate. Hampstead, yeah?
The Palladium there, Mr. Mason?
Right, number 3 at the Bloomsbury.
No telltale signs of their chosen profession.
So what do you do for a living?
Stand-up comedian.
Really? What, full-time?
Yeah. Well, as full-time as you can be when you're a comic. You only have to work about 5 hours a week.
But these are intense hours, widely dispersed.
I mean, I've got this gig now tonight, and now I've got to go and get another cab out to East Dulwich later on. So
it's all or nothing. You got 2 tonight and sort of nothing tomorrow.
I'm in Cambridge tomorrow, and then I've got nothing until the following Friday.
Greg Proops hits London on the last leg of a 6-week tour.
Proops is slicker than an oil spill off the Welsh coast. His fast-talking style, and this was the hilarious one, Rampton is hilarious. His fast-talking style could leave all donkeys within a 50-mile radius without hind legs. If there is a caveat, it's that despite the skillful delivery, some of Proops' material has a familiar ring to it. Does the world really need more jokes about the awfulness of the service in British restaurants? My answer, Jawohl.
Oh yes, my friend.
Oh yes, my friend. Until it improves, there needs to be a flurry.
So what makes people want to be entertainers then, do you think?
I love performing. I'm an egomaniac like every other performer. They pretend that they like to bring happiness to people, like politicians who say they like to serve people, they like to give something back to the people. It's all crap. And nobody ever became a comedian because he's trying to bring happiness to people. He's trying to bring cash to the bank. That's what he's trying to bring.
I mean, it's a fairly difficult business to get into, but there's a fairly well-defined career path.
Every comedian, every actor thinks he's God's gift to the universe because they take some kind of a sick egomania to go into this business in the first place.
You know, if you want to get established on the London circuit, you just phone up all the different comedy clubs and ask, can you come down and do 5 minutes for nothing?
Everybody throws you out of every office and you keep going.
It's called like an open spot. And you go down and you just do 5 minutes and you don't get paid.
Everybody tells you to drop dead and you keep dancing.
And if you go well, then they invite you back and to get you to do 10 minutes.
And singing and laughing and joking.
That's called a half spot. And if that goes well, they invite you back to 20 minutes and that's a full set.
Then you're one of scores of comedians playing dozens of clubs on the London circuit.
Tim's just dropped out for the weekend, so we need to find a replacement.
Who else can we use, do you think?
Hi, it's Norma, John Gross here.
And then once you're doing like 20-minute sets in all the clubs, that's you pretty much, you know, a circuit comic. And from that,
they start inviting you, I suppose.
Exactly, yeah.
And when you're first starting and you're just doing joints, I think your only goal is to get to better joints or to get more work. I don't think you ever think, one day I will be the president of show business. And I think you just think, God, if I could do this 3 times a week, then I'd really be happy.
Then you'll be delirious with 5 times a week on a 36-date national tour, apart from the niggling anxieties about filling each venue.
Yeah, and I was thinking about the difference between the first night and last night and the size of the audience.
So do you reckon this show will go well tonight? You got a big crowd?
Well, we'll just have to see, because, I mean, the football can affect it, you know. If everybody's been out getting tanked up during the day, then we could get a very noisy, very rowdy crowd.
First night when it's full up. Really good crowd, really good show, really exciting, very uplifting, blah, blah, blah. Excellent review. Last night, empty seats. It was like jokes dropping into those sort of like vacuous spaces, and they just got sucked up. They seemed to disappear into nothingness.
Well, it makes it easier for people not to laugh when there's
space beside
Yeah.
I've got to tell you, all the pubs that I've been past this afternoon was very rowdy already, so I think you've got a rowdy night ahead of you.
Yeah, although Hampstead Comedy Club shouldn't be too much of a worry.
I've worked in every kind of a dump there is. I've worked for all kinds of audiences. I work sometimes for 10,000 people. It doesn't make any difference to me how many people are there.
Jackie Mason's earned his nonchalance, arriving fresh from New York, where he's established the longest-running, biggest-selling one-man Broadway show in history. Over a 40-year career, the rabbi-turned-comedian has seen his annual income grow to a cool $5 million and has developed a broad fan base.
I was told that the Queen Mother is very crazy about me. Last time I worked there, she started to talk like me. After the show, she said, well, you wasn't that good, but it was pretty good.
At least he gets royal recognition.
Excuse me, sir. Can I help you?
How do you do? I'm Jackie Mason. I'm playing here
Oh, that's
tonight.
fine. No problem at all. It's just that I don't recognise you.
It's going to be good tonight.
It is going to be.
Feel it in the air.
Me too. Halloween, man. And they say that it was on a night like this that Jack the Ripper took his first victim.
The rehearsal's happening in your head. The only thing to do is to check compliance with contract riders for dressing room facilities.
Last night's sandwiches are here.
The 2 things a comic needs, the main 2 things, more than anything else. This you want to see. Seen and heard.
What is in here? Something for nothing?
Can you see me? Can you hear me? Date and cream cheese, I think.
Jesus. Oh, it's terrible chocolate.
After that, it's up to you, you know. People who are inexperienced at staging comedy think that comedy is just is wallpaper, or that anybody can do it, or that it's just a guy saying jokes. They don't get that it has to be the right lighting, that there has to be a microphone, you have to be able to hear them.
Is that a bit pingy?
I think it is.
Yeah, pup.
You'll go to a comedy gig that's not developed, or a private gig that, we want to have a comic and we heard that's funny now. Glenn let drive a spingle to the punter in a ball. And they'll put you in the corner in the dark with no microphone. Or the cover off the ball. Do your thing, isn't that what you do?
Sometimes you're performing at a bar mitzvah, everybody's chasing their chopped liver. The people at a bar mitzvah, when there's a contest between jokes and food, no Jew is going to pick the jokes. Chopped liver is always a bigger hit than Jackie Mason. It's the wrong place for a comedian.
That's the thing about comedy. It's like holy in context. A comic at a funeral is not so funny. I mean, to use the most blatant example, you know. But it could be with the right lighting and a good microphone, you know.
And just about enough room to swing a cat.
It's a very, very intimate gig. The audience is right up on top of you, and which sometimes can be a little bit unnerving.
It's very much a no frills kind of club. It's compare 3 acts, no food, people drink. Good evening and welcome to the Hampstead Comedy Club.
And welcome to any spare space designated a comedy zone either by a simple notice pinned to a pub window, a few plush chairs in an East End dive, or a shiny new corporate logo for a purpose-built comedy chain expanding across the country. And anyone can start one, from ambitious empire builders like Maria Kempinska to ex-cons, like Malcolm Hardy, now deified as London's godfather of comedy.
I got into stand-up comedy by accident. I'd just come out of prison, and I ended up being a Punch and Judy man.
I was working for an actor's agent.
Years ago, I had another club called The Tunnel, which was infamous, and it was in Greenwich in South East London, and that closed because it got raided, and I was just driving past this place one day, and it said lease for sale.
I knew this venue in Battersea because it was in roller disco at that time, and I thought, perfect venue.
So I thought I'll have some of that. I only had about £4 in the bank.
Well, £300 it was, because that's all I could get from my bank manager.
But I bluffed my way in.
Gave up my day job.
But I've been paying off the debts the last 48 years. You know, 5 kids.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Up the Creek.
I'm like the corner shop of comedy, whereas the big managements are like the supermarkets.
I hadn't got a business plan or anything. I thought this was a great idea. I've learnt business by doing it, basically. That's how I've gone through the system. Leicester, Friday.
And a system it is. Though all the comedy retailers draw on the same stock of talent, Jongleurs has it neatly databased by act, by venue, by show spot. If you fit the bill, you're on the list, you're booked, you're printed automatically on the poster, and you're on stage in a slick entertainment package. But where do all the headliners come from? The College of Comedy? Evening classes in entertainment?
From anywhere and everywhere we have students, computer analysts, a haematologist, everybody. And that's what I love about it. There is no class distinction. There is no professional distinction.
Please give a huge Jongleurs welcome. She is Hattie Hayridge.
Late of the typing pool with a burning desire to stand up and be counted.
I went to a comedy club and they said if anyone wants to get up after the interval, they can. I had 8 Southern Comforts in the interval and got up and started moaning on about my life as a secretary.
Every now and again you get, you know, sort of a diamond who shines through.
Someone came up and gave me a 5-minute gig at another club and I just carried on.
From tryout to tried and tested. Now you're a comedy commodity.
Once you've got it marketed, once it's a product, then it's obvious that business is going to move in on it and sell it.
Early show, arrival 7 o'clock, on stage 7:40.
Oh, it's a good business. I make fortunes. I do, yeah.
There's a parallel product that fuels comedy consumption.
Imagine a club with no drink and no smoke. Oh, don't think it'd be like a hospital.
To reduce it to its basic level, you're telling jokes to drunks in bars so that they will buy booze, so that the bar will stay open, so that they will have a comedy night on Thursday, so that you can come back.
The best things are the mixers. 3,000% profit. You know when you have a Coca-Cola and someone presses a button, they charge you 40 pence. It costs us about, halfpenny. Brilliant, eh?
Some clubs by the end of the night, there's beer all over the floor and fag ends, and it's fantastic. It's smoky, horrible atmosphere, everybody's drunk, and that can be great. If they can't hear you and there's a lot of noise and there's a band in the other room, then you're just in a crummy bar. But if you're in a crummy bar and everyone's laughing, then there's joy,
The beer's on tap and just flows. The jokes are more precious commodities mined from the rough stuff of everyday life.
I'm actually trying to remember what I did the last time I was at this club. I think the last time I was there I opened with the smoking stuff, so I don't really want to do that. So I think I'll probably open with the stuff about fighting.
And honed to a diamond sharpness.
First line's always the same. First line is sort of, my name's Ed Byrne, but you'll know me as Darlene from Roseanne. And that's a good, as an opening line, that's a really good judge of the crowd, because sometimes I'll do that line, it'll be the biggest laugh I'll get all night. They just won't, they'll laugh at it for about 2 minutes.
Jokes, once polished, must earn their keep in the act before they lose their sheen.
The thing is, if someone sees you and they saw you once before, and you do one joke they heard before, they go, well, it's just doing the same thing, But people do go, oh, how come you didn't do the chip route, we came all the way and you didn't do the hilarious thing you used to do, And then you go, well.
Some routines become valued as classics, and touted at a premium.
When you have to pay $40, $60 for a ticket, you want to know that you like the guy in advance.
Months in advance, over 2,000 well-heeled fans invested £40 in Jackie's repertoire, but there are more modest profits to be had from a punchline.
Listen, this one is a door split. It depends on how many people are in. So literally, if there's only 10 people show up, I'm only going to go home with a £5. But if it's full, it should be about 60, maybe 80. I'm not sure.
And that's for 20 minutes work.
Yep, not bad really, I suppose.
Well, you're doing better than me, I've got to tell you.
I'll see you later then, Dave.
Yeah,
Cheers.
take care. Hope it goes well.
The art of stand-up comedy more than imitates life. It is life. The life experiences of the comic. The comic is at once the author, actor, and subject matter of their performance. In no other art form is the onus so thoroughly on the individual. The product is simply your intimate confessions, your witty observations, your amusing anecdotes.
All right, how's it going?
Your hilarious insights into the state of the world. An evening's entertainment on one person's shoulders, yours.
I started out, just like really, just shitting it, basically.
First time I did stand-up in London, I was so nervous. I forgot the first joke, told it backwards. So I said the punchline first, then I said the joke.
I remember saying to myself then, I said to my mate, I really don't think I'm going to be able to do this for a living because I can't take this kind of stress every day.
Are you going to be funny tonight for a change?
I'll do my best,
Well, you'd better. You and your promoter's livelihoods depend on it. And your audience is sitting there waiting for it. Whatever its size, it expects just one thing of you. But you can't ask them. You can't suggest it to them. You have to make them laugh. It's a long walk to the stage, to the microphone.
We got clearance, ready to go? Yeah.
And it's a walk the stand-up comedian always does alone.
Good evening and welcome to the Hampstead Comedy Club.
For a successfully riotous time, a comedy evening must be tightly structured, tone and pace supervised. This calls for a compare.
Tonight on the bill are all the people who are actually on the bill. Hey?
I am Steve Jameson, I'm your host for the evening.
The idea of the compare is actually to make the other acts look good. Success. Yeah.
I'll just give you an idea how things go.
The other idea is to sort of warm you up a bit.
I do a sort of warm-up, I do about half an hour. Then we bring an act on, then we have a break. Come back and I do about 40 minutes.
So we go, on the count of three, whole audience, clap, and go berserk. 1, 2, 3!
The compare must be funny, but not too funny.
There are loads of things can go wrong in a gig that are not down to you, they're nothing to do with you. The person that was on before you could absolutely storm it and rip the roof off it. And you've got to follow that, You could be just this weird X factor, this weird mob mentality. You'll get up in front of the gig and do your gags, and just the audience will just decide for some reason. Half of them will decide they just don't like it.
Listen, we're going to move along and bring the first...
If the compare's done their job, the audience will love you before you open your mouth.
The wonderful Mr. Ed Byrne!
Now it's down to you. The moment of truth.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jackie Mason!
Just you, your routine, and the audience.
Mr. Greg Proops!
In entertainment terms, it's mortal. Life or death.
The first times I remember by myself, I was terrified, my heart was thumping, I thought I would just die.
The opposite of a sensation is dead.
You either die, or you kill, or you storm it.
It's kill or be killed.
As you're thrown to the laughter lions, one of the most perilous environments for the budding comic is Malcolm Hardy's East London stand-up night, where people from all walks of life with ambitions to be comics, or simply with self-destructive tendencies, enter the arena.
Anyway, we now come to the point in the evening where we've got the guest spots. Sometimes they're shit, sometimes they're good. You never know.
I work in the city. I'm a computer analyst.
He was just here tonight and he said, I'll have a go. I said, all right.
When I was a kid, I was sent to bed at 8. Wasn't allowed up till I was 21.
I felt it went badly.
But he must have rehearsed that. He must have stood in front of the mirror and thought that's funny. He's wrong. But that's how it goes.
I was fairly sure that I would die down here because this is a club known for heckling. It's a very hard club to play.
Anyway, the next act, he's keyed up, he's waiting in the wings.
I'm an estate agent.
So will you please welcome all the way from over there, clap your hands until they go bloody, the one and only Howard Smith.
It's really important to establish your confidence on stage.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you come on and go, hi, it's really nice to be here, it makes the audience wildly uncomfortable and they want to die.
Thank you.
As an audience member, the worst feeling you can have is to be embarrassed for the person on stage.
That's all right, man. Thank you very much.
It's been a long time since I just walked out there and just really tanked it.
It's an emotional death for the person performing.
Really, really tanked it. It's been about 11 hours now.
It's when the crowd is so quiet that all you hear is like the ocean roaring in your ears.
Hey?
I think that's why it's called dying. It feels like dying.
Really, it's worse than dying.
Hey?
Your heart pounds and you sweat and, you want to die.
That's sarcasm. But I thought we'd start the night by, or rather continue the night in the vein that Martin set off, which is obviously some serious energy from the audience, a bit of participation. So I thought long and hard about this. I've been suffering from insomnia.
Get off, mate. Dry.
It's not clicking with you. It's like you're wasting my time. Get on, get someone funny. Let's go.
Don't laugh too much at that, mate. Cheers.
Not a heckler, but if someone's annoying me, get off. You're not funny. I've been in places where you don't pay nothing, and you can be a bit more tolerant. But you walk in, you pay £6, make me laugh. If not, bye-bye.
Pick on the same person, which is fucking diabolical. But I was reading a piece on oysters.
I feel sorry for them. I mean, I couldn't do it. I could not do it. I don't know how they get the bottle or anything like that. But from there up, they're doing it, do it right or bye-bye.
I mean, the real bad gigs are maybe where you stand there and you just gradually get more and more ignored and people's talking gets louder and louder.
When the audience starts calling out for the compere,
I'm just going to go and save someone. No.
You know you're living or dying on borrowed time.
Before I go, because I am about to do this. No, I am going. If it's any consolation.
We're all friends.
If it's any consolation. It's fun driving here. Thanks a lot, Mansell Smith. Good night.
Malcolm Hardy's seen it all. Seen them storm, kill or die. Surely some reassuring words
So there we go.
for his comedic comrade.
Nice one, Howard.
Nope.
He's an old favourite down here. Would you please welcome a man who looks like Woody Allen without the talent? Would you please welcome the one and only McRae?
Another lamb to the slaughter.
There can be many reasons, but at the end of the day, there's no excuses.
The worst thing is it's not actually dying at the time, is you wake up in the middle of the night and remember the humiliation.
Trying to put your finger on why it went badly, that's just making excuses. It went badly because it went badly.
And you just a cold, wet sheen of just hot and horror.
There's a certain point in the evening where you go, no, sod you lot, I'm going to get my head down, I'm going to fucking win you back.
I remember this so well at the beginning of dying a death.
But there's also a point where, as an act, you must realise that you can't just stay on regardless.
What happened to me, someone got up on stage behind me and lifted my dress up over my head. That would count as a terrible gig.
There comes a point where you've got to admit defeat.
Oh, I punched him, by the way.
Just the next day I was on the tube and I was just thinking, oh please, there might be somebody from the audience everywhere. Could have been a member of the audience who was just going to point and say, you are shit.
I'm a builder.
Would you please welcome all the way from over there, Mal Kay?
Mal's been a part-time comic on the circuit for 2 years. He knows if a tryout kills, it can turn a career around. A lot is riding on this spot.
Anyone been to a Greek wedding must be familiar with Greek weddings. Yeah, because we like to pin the money on the bride and groom.
While Howard Smith receives offstage commiserations, it happens to the biggest acts.
That's why you find a lot of Greek men like marrying big, fat, large women. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, listen.
Mal's hit pay dirt.
I think that's enough from me, right? My name's been Mal, and you lot have been great. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thanks.
The unpaid open spot pays off. Mal takes one step up the ladder of the career comedian.
Bring some, do a half spot.
Half spot, yeah. Right. But I mean, at the end of the day, I've had a I would say a poor gig tonight. It's no big deal. I mean, we're comics. We're not ambulance drivers or policemen or firemen. No one dies if we had a bad day at the office.
You either get better or you stop, because the humiliation is too much to bear.
See, but then, you realize after you do it a long time that even if you do die, you'll probably come back again and play the next night,
Anyway, my name is Ed Byrne. You'll probably already know me as Darlene from Roseanne.
Awesome to be here in London. As you know, the friendliest place in the entire United Kingdom. I think every stand-up comic has that crying insecurity inside where they need the shallow love of the many every 15 to 30 seconds.
Thank you. It's a sick need to be important. It's a desperation to be the belle of the ball.
God bless you all. You ever just look at comedians and go, what the hell are they doing up there? And I use the term loosely because I'm not up there. I'm down here. I'm aware of that. But
comedy depends on extremes of logic to the point of ridiculousness, arrogance, nonsense.
our job is to make you have fun, which is a weird word because if you think about it, everybody's out looking for fun. But if you think about the word fun, you don't even know what it is.
As much as a surgeon is trained to think surgically, or a plumber is trained to think plumbingly, a comedian thinks comedically.
Societies, the simple fact is that women still are hypocrites about the whole subject of sex. They have to pretend they never heard of it, they never did it, because they were raised to think it's not nice. The man is raised to think, for you, it's okay. So he's ready, and he wants it, but not with her, because even if he does with her, he's not supposed to let her know what he wants, because she's supposed to pretend she don't want it in order to do it.
People from this island flock to Florida every year, where they are, of course, murdered relentlessly one after the next. Thank you for laughing. I'm glad you can find the humor in that. Americans love that joke. They really do. Woo! We are good shots, aren't we?
When you've done it long enough, that's how you start to think, You see things, and your mind starts to process them comedically.
If she wants it, not nice. If it happened, she didn't expect it. So she has to pretend she never heard of it before she does it. So you have to pretend you don't want it in order to get it. So the whole trick is to figure out how to get there without talking so she could do it without hearing.
You said you're having fun, right there, fella? How much fun are you having? A fair bit. That's the best measurement you can come up, fair bit. Look at this. Look at this. I bought a little Snickers bar here because it actually says right here, fun size. Take a good long look, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently this is the size of fun. Hell of a lot smaller than we thought it was going to be. I guess.
Stand-up's just brilliant because it's so immediate. If you're an impatient person, it's just great. You just say something and you get the response back.
I used to share this flat with a girl, and her boyfriend was just at it the whole time. I could hear them, even without a stethoscope sometimes. It was such a rattle.
Sometimes you got the idea kind of not really worked out in your head. And if it's a good gig and the audience are with you, you just, somehow the adrenaline and the excitement, everything just goes woo, and you end up eventually getting to a punchline.
We had the fox hunt through 5 times.
Let's be honest, without sex, would you be here? I think you would. It's not scripted. I have in my mind many, many hours of material, and I sense what would sound appropriate at that time. That's not nice to say. I'm looking at you, but I'm thinking of the other guy. Just like when you're talking to a person, you're basically talking instinctively. Subconsciously, you're saying to yourself, this will interest him, so that's what I'll talk about. This won't, I'll leave it out. In the back of my mind is the realization that this might not be funny no matter what I'm talking about. And as soon as I sense it in a split second, I'm into something else. Every mother for 100 years raised their children the same way. Don't eat junk food, eat meat. Now they found out the worst thing in the world for you is red meat. You don't talk to an old lady the same thing as a young man. You don't talk to a hooker like you do to a rabbi. The same thing collectively. An audience becomes like one person. And you sense their reactions to what you're saying. Turns out your own mother was trying to kill you.
I don't come on to seduce the audience. I don't care if everyone laughs. I can't think about that anymore. You're a hesitant crowd, but I can see you want it. We're gonna fuck before this evening is over. If there's anything that lot of experience on stage and a lot of stage time gives you is the confidence to know that it's okay if they're not laughing every second you're up there. You just require a little more foreplay than other crowds. You are a hot crowd, really. You are so smart and pretty. I have the horn. Although that's what drives me, and I still go too fast a lot of the time.
Well, sometimes you'll do a gig and the audience is so lovely and they're so appreciative, and sometimes you get an audience that's like really switched on. Like you don't even need to do the punchline, they get the gag, they get what you're talking about, and they start laughing. Just when you start getting the concept of the joke across. And you do get to like them, and you actually start finding your material funnier again. Tell you another song I hate at the moment. Ironic by Alanis Morissette. Now, I actually quite like Alanis Morissette. I freaking look like her for as it is. No, I actually do quite like her. I think she's very good. But I hate that song, that ironic one, because it's called Ironic, and she keeps on naming all these things that are supposed to be ironic, and none of them are. They're all just unfortunate. The song should be called Unfortunate. I mean, a traffic jam when you're already late. That's not ironic, that's just a pain in the hole. That's just par for the course. It's like, there's no irony in that. It's like, now if you were a town planner on your way to a meeting about how to solve traffic congestion in your area, that would be fairly ironic. The only ironic thing about that song is that it's called Ironic and it's written by somebody who hasn't got a clue what irony is. That's quite ironic, if you ask me.
You know, there's a lot of people, if you say to them, I want to see a comedian, any comedian, I don't care who he is. It's not for me. To them, it's not an art form.
I don't think it's a very high art form, but I do think it's a very pure art form.
A ballet to them is an art form. A comedian talking, I always give up. It certainly is an art form, because how to refine it and how to relate it and how to perfect it is an art form.
No matter what style of comedian is, whether it's topical or surreal or whatever, it's quite a beautiful thing to be able to just stand there and talk and everybody laughs.
My last girlfriend, met my girlfriend in Glasgow, but she wasn't my girlfriend when I met her, she was a complete stranger. But then she became my girlfriend, and then she became even stranger.
It's magical, a grain of truth.
Go to any ballet, what do you see there? See the same thing at every ballet. One girl is twirling, and 3,000 Jews sloughed.
Grown to grotesque proportions, turning on an absurdity of life or language.
We broke up in the end, because to break up at the start is pointless, isn't it?
I think the reason why comics do get a certain amount of respect amongst the artistic community is because it does have that one-on-one relationship with the audience. There's no invisible wall between you and the audience. You are actually having to talk to people and you're having to deal with them as people rather than just as an audience.
Successful comedy is measurable in decibels through the involuntary noise called laughter. If it keeps coming, the comedian has freedom of speech. But if the laughter is not elicited, the people find their own voice.
If your stuff ain't funny enough, you ain't gonna get away with it.
And are prepared to use it from the safety of the dark auditorium.
Hecklers, I think, are often emboldened by drink. The thing that booze does to you is it lowers your inhibitions, and all of a sudden things that were embarrassing to you 20 minutes before are no longer embarrassing, and now you've got your mates with you.
You finished?
If the hecklers win, you lose.
Good. Because you could be up next.
If the laughs dry up, the bookings dry up, and you're out of a job.
As soon as they smell fear, and audiences do, they can say, ooh, and they're away, they turn on you like a pack of wolves.
Once they start baying for your blood, you have precious few moments to mount a defence, the best form of which is attack. This is your territory.
If you don't take the heckle on, you're dead in the water.
It's not a conversation, mate. I've got the microphone. Shut up.
Hecklers are there to be enjoyed, and if they're just unpleasant, I just cut them, their legs off really quick.
So where are your girlfriends tonight? Where are they? What are they? Outside grazing? Where are they?
I've heard ones over the years, I want to have your children so I can have them gassed. There's a cab for you. I was told one American comic was just dying and someone stood up and went, "You're not funny. Why are you doing this?"
When you don't gig for a long time, you forget how to deal with hecklers, so I was quite nervous. But their feet were up on the stage and he was all right, darling, no, she's all right, let the lovely lady have a go. They were well plastered. And they had no idea, but they also had no idea that I was going to just have them for breakfast.
Can we get on? Because your dad's coming to pick you up in an hour, you know what I mean?
And I was just not having any of it.
Shut up! Because I'm premenstrual and these boots have got fucking steel toe caps, you know what I mean?
If they had got me in the first 2 minutes, I had 40 minutes to do, I'd been dead. I had to do it.
1, 2, 3. Did you understand that? I'm afraid we can't talk to you anymore because you're a wanker. Right, now.
I think I was really hard on them.
I'd like to thank everybody, you twat. And I'll see you again. Thanks a lot.
At the end, I shook the guy's hand, one of the heckler's hands, and I went to shake the hand of the other guy, and he wouldn't do it. Right? And I went, no, come on, shake your hand. And he wouldn't do it. And his mates went, shake her hand. And I went, all right, like that. And I thought it was brilliant.
Hecklers live in an alternate universe where they think that they're helping the show,
It's pretty much a rule of thumb that whoever heckles you will come up and talk to you after the show and say,
That was me, you know, shouting out the whole time. That was me. Yeah,
I was just helping you out.
Oh, great, yeah.
hey, you didn't mind that, did you? I was just helping you out.
You mean when you yelled out right before I had that great big punchline that I've been working on for 8 years to get to this brilliant story I'm telling? You yelling out bollocks was helping me right there? Thank you. And by the way, laugh wherever you want to. I love independent rogue laughing. Ha ha ha. I find it funny now. I hate that Nazi groupthink fuckball, you know, we all find it funny now, white overlord mentality. If you find it funny when other people find it dire, rock on, mighty warrior. Do what you do at your individual seat, man. People who laugh when no one else laughs probably own their own business. Go-getters.
And now for a little business at the bar.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have an intermission. I got better jokes for the second half.
As I said to the woman I lost my virginity to, thanks for laughing.
For this half, I didn't give you my best numbers, because I wanted you to get excited about coming back.
I realize after the interval, after we've had a few drinks, it's going to be a lot fucking funnier. And if it's not funny, it's art. And after I'm dead, you will piss yourself laughing.
Anyway, my name's Ed Barrett. Thanks very much. Good night.
I'll see you in a few minutes. Thanks a lot.
I'll see you in a few minutes.
Didn't get my ass off the stage.
As laughter turns to applause, it's time for the post-mortem. How hard did you work?
It was 50...
55.
Yeah.
The 53. It was long, but it happened and it was good.
Room for improvement?
You couldn't quite wrap it up.
No, I can never quite wrap it up. Why don't I just leave when they're laughing?
Value for money?
The audience have paid their money. You're getting paid out of what they've paid to get in. And they're the people who have to be entertained. You know, that's as simple as that.
A job well done then. Cash in hand. Thank you and good night. The pub takes the bar as the punters recharge their glasses.
Very good.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Greg Proops, having just talked for a solid hour on stage, retires to his dressing room to recharge his batteries for the second half.
Smoke some crack.
Yeah.
A vintage Jackie Mason performance is rewarded not only with a box office take in the tens of thousands, but a vintage gift from a fan.
So this is worth a fortune. What did I do to deserve this?
Gave us a great show.
Ed Burns' second set requires a frantic dash across town. Time to reflect on the first.
Started off really well there, you know. I don't know, it just seemed to start to drift a bit, sort of in the latter half. It whipped it back up again then with some of the boyfriend-girlfriend stuff.
Greg's London dates have been a success. Only 20 more UK cities to go, each grist to the comedy mill.
It's bitching to be here because we're on a tour all over the island. We've been to some fabulous places. America, the joke is always, you know, it's nice to be here in Fremont, Gateway to Hayward or whatever. You know, you just name the next town over sucks, right? Because it always does, which it does here too. Hull and... One time a club owner told me, all your jokes are about everywhere you've been, and I said, but that's all I do, is go different places.
I can't believe it! I'm here!
What else can I talk about but where I've been?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this taxi. My name is Ed Byrne. I'll be your stand-up comedian for this evening. So far I've done Hampstead Comedy Club tonight.
My very first joke on a brand new continent, the wonderful Australia. How you doing there, sir?
I was in Amsterdam recently, which is the bitchingest place in the entire universe.
Yeah, I have no bearings. I have no idea where I am.
We're cruising at an altitude of approximately half a metre off the ground, at a land speed of approximately 20 to 30 miles an hour.
I'm tired from something I'm going to do tomorrow night. That's how jet lagged I am right now, ladies and gentlemen.
We're on our way to East Dulwich Tavern, where the local time is 10 o'clock. I've got to be there at the very latest. I've got to be there in half an hour.
Culture shock between North and South London will be modest, but...
I mean, if you're in Amsterdam, for fuck's sake, you're an American performing for almost all Dutch people who speak English. You have got to address that. Dutch is an exceedingly difficult language to master. I'm not just going to come up and go, remember when you were little and you used to watch Augie Doggie? And the crowd goes, no, we don't have any of your experiences. They seem to have no vowels, and we wore lederhosen when we were little and ate cheese in the morning. And, you walk into a shop in the morning, good morning. Well, what would they know about my, and what would I know about theirs? So, of course, I'm going to say, well, it's nice to be here in Amsterdam. Excellent. You speak Klingon.
I happen to have the highest respect for this country, and I keep saying it till I leave the building.
enjoying stand-up. Timing's everything.
I did 4 gigs one night. At the end of the night, you just wiped out. Just going, why are they told this joke?
Thank you very much indeed. Lovely to be here. My name's Ed Byrne. You probably already know me as Darlene from Roseanne.
Ed and the Jokes are working overtime tonight, building a career which is taking off with TV appearances and hopes of a major US talk show spot, all homegrown from his indefatigable pounding of the London stand-up circuit in front of a live audience.
Performers now have cars, mobile phones, mortgages, families. It's an industry, it's a profession.
There are spin-offs, well-paid corporate gigs.
A friend of mine, she was really annoyed. She went into mother care, spent 25 quid on this baby alarm and still got pregnant.
Exotic dates in front of expatriates in far-flung places.
Remember, a big Hong Kong welcome for Miss Donna McPhail!
And I went up to the bar and the barman said, yes, madam, can I help you? And I said, I'll have a pint of lager, please. And the barman said, certainly, madam. And for yourself?
Transatlantic careers, frequent TV appearances, now the world is your oyster.
I love going into a shop in London. Hi, how are you today?
So, it's a long way from the agonies of open spots, the terrors of tryouts, the fear of failure.
I still feel like my nose is pressed up against the glass, you know. I'm just outside of being whatever the exciting parties that are going on that I'm, you know, there's Tanya Breyer driving right by, you know. I don't think your average stand-up comic, that's what they feel like, you know. They're in it, they're working, that's what's important, you know, and maybe one day you'll get to, you know, do something else. You know, that's bigger.
3 hours in the country and I'm doing a television show.
In the entertainment industry, bigger means mass media. Good gags can provide a career trajectory from the hand-to-mouth world of comedy tryout to half spots to household name. Then you'll be fighting for shelf space in the lucrative, if somewhat contradictory, live video market, where your ephemeral material attains a kind of immortality.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back on stage, Mr. Jackie Mason.
The shared moments of act and audience become units to be shifted. When you're Jackie Mason and you kill...
Hello,
You kill 3 markets with 1 show. A sold-out London Palladium, 2 TV specials, and a 5th home video, all on one man's one-night stand-up.
I'll be here a week. I'm going to get my own network, ladies and gentlemen.
Perhaps not too wild a fantasy, stand-up comedy has taken some to the very top of the entertainment tree. Ellen DeGeneres and Jerry Seinfeld boast top-rated US network shows. Bill Cosby heads a comedy corporation.
Yeah, they can go from an open spot to going to Hollywood.
Former stand-up comedians have become the pillars of the entertainment establishment. But can they resist the adrenaline rush, the naked vulnerability, the essence of entertainment, standing up alone before a live audience?
A night in England, I performed in a small club in Windsor. A friend named Lenny Henry invited me to come up there and follow him. I went, oh, great, okay. He went on, did 30 minutes, killed because everyone knew him. They brought me out, and I got, you know, a minute of like, all right, you smoke, all right. Nothing. Bombed. It's one of those things like you see in movies where they show the comics on stage and they shoot him from behind and the lights are really low. And it was the most frightening night because there's a lot of people just sitting there like this. Right then. It was just, it was like being in the Grand Canyon at high noon. And it was pretty frightening. And then I don't know how I got off. I don't know whether I found one laugh and got off, but I was sweating like Marlon Brando after Thai food. It was really just, an insane evening. But I remember it very vividly.
Not something you'd forget. It's the up-close and personal experience par excellence.
I don't know if anyone goes into stand-up thinking this is going to last forever.
You wake up one day, you're 35, you've got a bad back, unwanted hair and beaded seat covers in your car, which apparently you put there.
On the circuit, we was always thinking, oh, this whole stand-up bubble is going to burst, and everyone go, oh, what am I going to do in my old age?
We're all genetically programmed at the age of 40 to go to a bus stop and say to a complete stranger, spicy food goes straight through me. I love it.
Our generation of comics, we still don't quite know how long we can do stand-up for.
A few years ago, I spent 120 quid on a vacuum cleaner. And I thought, wait a minute, that's 2 grams of cocaine.
How wrinkled and bent over can you be still getting on stage at the Comedy Store?
I'm a stand-up comic, it's rock and roll. And then I thought, yes, but there's no point sniffing coke if you've got a dirty flat.
With your Zimmer frame, you
knows? How long is it going to last? I don't think it's going to be a George Burns, not a Georgette Burns, definitely.
I don't want to stop because I enjoy it too much. You're sitting in the house and everybody forgets about you. It's no pleasure. So you go back on the stage to convince yourself that you're a sensation again.
Thank you. God bless you all. God bless you all.
They don't like you on stage. You can't blame, well, it's not my script. It's you. They don't like you. And that's devastating. But the other side and the reason people do it is they do like you on stage. It's all your work.
This was a fantastic show, and if it wasn't, I'm not going to concern myself with it because I know who I am. I say that with the highest respect. It doesn't mean I'm not concerned about your opinion, but if a person knows who he is, he doesn't wait for other people to validate him. The greatest sign, wait, I'll find my place. The greatest sign of mental health is that you should know who you are, and I wish it upon all of you that you should know who you are, just like I know who I am. This shows no disrespect to other people, but you should know who you are. I thank God I know who I am. It took me a long time to find out who I am. That's why I appreciate it, because for years I didn't know who I was. I'm not ashamed to admit it, I had a problem with that. But I went to a psychiatrist, he took a look at me. He said, this is not you. I said, this is not me, then who is it? He said, I don't know either. I said, then what do I need you for? He said, to find out who you are. He said, together, we're going to look for the real you. I said, if I don't know who I am, how will I know who to look for? And even if I find me, how will I know if it's me? Besides, if I want to look for me, what do I need him? I could look myself. Or I could take my friends. We know where I was. We'll know where to look. Besides, I said to myself, what if I find the real me and I find that he's even worse than me? What do I need him? I don't make enough for myself. I need a partner. 10 years ago, I'd be glad to look for anybody. Now I'm doing good. Why should I look for him? He needs help. Let him look for me. He said, the search for the real you will have to continue. That'll be $100, please. I said to myself, this is not the real me. Why should I give him the $100? I'll look for the real me and let him give him the $100. What if I find the real me and he don't think it's worth $100? Then I'm stuck my money with the real him. I said to myself, for all I know, the real me might be going to a different psychiatrist altogether. Might even be a psychiatrist himself. I said, wouldn't it be funny if you're the real me and you owe me $100? I said, I'll tell you what, I'll charge you $50. We'll call it in. Good night.
The show's over when the comic shuts up and walks off stage. There's no set to strike, no costumes to pack away, no makeup to be removed. Just an empty space echoing to the sound of applause that the entertainer has filled for 10 minutes or 2 hours with a virtual reality of pure verbal invention.
What motivates you when you become a comedian is not the big effort to bring happiness, as if there'll be no happiness if Jackie Mason doesn't tell a joke. Wasn't there happiness before I showed up? And won't there be happiness after Jackie Mason is put away for good? Plenty of people will live without Jackie Mason and they won't notice it. A plumber is a lot more important in this universe than a comedian, because without a bedroom, it's hard to enjoy life. Without a comedian, you can still have a good time. A toilet is more important than a comedian. But entertainers keep getting Academy Awards. You ever see a plumber getting an award? Let's assume Sylvester Stallone wasn't there. Would you miss him? You wouldn't miss him, but if a plumber doesn't show up, you're bad. It hurts, it bothers you, it's killing you. I never saw people in the middle of the night looking for Sylvester Stallone, but they're looking for a plumber. If a picture doesn't show up, you don't miss it. You can't find the bathroom, you're in bad shape.
Right, comedy. There you go. Fuck it.